hate, don't care who hate. I'm saying the wrong bars, ain't I? Man, I just repeat myself. Judging the self-hate, only the real can relate, man. I determine my fate. It's the Coach Uncut podcast. I'm keeping with my brother. What it do? It's your boy DJ Noah Fresh, Mr. I always got my people with me. You already know what I'm doing here.
Shout out to the people, man. It's your boy Trey Pound, the moisturizer, a.k.a. the tsunami for your mommy. You know, I'm president of Wet Lives Matter, because if it ain't wet, it don't even matter. Overhook your boy up with that theme music, man.
Yo, come see me. It's the Coach Uncut podcast, man. Support the guys. It's a morning cup. It's your boy Corey. And I'm here to tell you, be not afraid. Be courageous. Go get it, man. We are them people.
What it do? It's your boy DJ Noah Fresh, Mr. I always got my people with me. You already know what I'm doing here.
Yo, it's your boy Trey Pound, the moisturizer. Y'all already know. They call me Big Ski. Larry Who. Soaking drums. Hallelujah. President of Wet Lives Matter, because if it ain't wet, it don't even matter, man. Play me my theme.
Trey got what it do? What it do? It's your boy DJ Nova Fresh. This is the Culture Uncut podcast. We are in the building. I'm gonna step to the side, let Trey do his thing, and introduce the special guest that we have today.
All right, no doubt. I'll go ahead and jump in the flames, man. It's your boy Trey Pound, the moisturizer. We kicking it with my ace, DJ Nova Fresh, and we also got a special guest with you guys, Kayla Doherty. She's domestic violence relationship coach, advocate. You know, she's a specialist in the field, and her thing is, you know, help people get back on their feet, get them out of those toxic relationships. So glad to have you, Kayla. How you feeling?
Good. How are you?
Fantastic. How did you get into that world, may I ask?
Yeah, so I've got into the coaching field because I actually didn't first start off in coaching. I dabbled in a little bit through different niches online, but then nothing really aligned with me until I really sat down and I thought, like, what am I an expert in? And I thought, oh my gosh, trauma. Because I've actually gone through 7 years of it myself in 2 different relationships because the cycle can repeat. So I've been in 2 narcissistic relationships, total of 7 years myself. So I definitely spent a lot of my early years in not the best relationships. So that's how I really came about. And I started coaching last year of how to rebuild your life after coming out of a narcissistic relationship and what that really looks like, because it is definitely a tough field to navigate, especially if you haven't gone through this type of experience before. It's definitely a lot to unpack. So that's why I decided to coach in this, because coming out of this type of relationship, even just going to therapy, it was really hard for people to really relate to therapists who have never gone through something like this. Instead of a therapy approach, I do coaching. Instead of, like, I do a mix of, you do the talk therapy, but then also it's very solution based. So I have very much actual steps and I take them through a whole framework that I have created based off my own experience and also based off clients' experience. So that really helps them to really navigate the situation and give them a lot of support, because you do need a lot of support and you do need somebody who understands you personally and has gone through it themselves as well to really understand, like, okay, what are the steps I need to take step by step to really rebuild your life?
No doubt. So we was like really inspired to bring you on, especially after the show we had last night with dealing with the
Yeah.
murder-suicide case out in Alexandria. And it was a very heavy call we got in. Shout out to Chris LaCour, man, for pitching a lot of great questions. You said, and we also like seeing this like play out too with like in the entertainment world with Cardi B and Offset, and then you got, they got a lot of toxic stuff going on with their situation, and then you got Keke Palmer and her
Yeah.
situation that's going on. You said you jumped into the field because of your personal experience. Is there any one particular experience that made you like, yeah, this is the route I need to take?
Yeah, for sure. I would say, you know, what really inspired me to take this route was because I've gone through therapy myself, but I found, you know, even going through therapy, because I've gone through this twice in 2 different relationships, even going through therapy, it didn't really teach me how to break the cycle. Like, it was very good first step in the healing direction. I will say therapy is great in that first step, but it didn't teach me how exactly to break the cycle and go on to the next step of how to really attract a healthy partner. So I got into this field because I wanted to not only show women how to, and also males how to heal, but also how to break the cycle and then move on to the next part of their life, which is how to have healthy love, a healthy partner. So I wanted to really help them with that next step in their new life of being able to actually be with somebody healthy and have a real chance at love. So I would say not only my own personal experience, but also seeing women going into more toxic relationships one after the other. I thought it was really heartbreaking because they have gone to therapy themselves, but they didn't know how to break the cycle and they didn't know how to attract a healthy partner. So that's where I really wanted to help them find the gap there of like break the cycle and also how to move on to a healthy partner, because I really know that's what they want ultimately. A lot of people just want love. They want a partner to share life with and experience that with. So I wanted them to have a real chance at love.
All right. Hey,
Yeah.
everybody want a little bit of love in their life,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
For sure.
Shoot, boy,
The right
I
love. The right
Yeah.
yeah,
love.
I mean,
You got to get the right love. 'Cause
Yeah.
there's some love out there that you don't
eh,
need. Like, I think social
Mhm.
media is shaping this image of what love is, and it's like that ain't true love, bro.
No.
That toxicity is not love, man.
you say
Love,
toast
Yeah.
salad? Man, boy, I knew you was
no,
watching something
that's
crazy before we logged in, boy.
nah. But being toxic is not a good trait to have.
Mm,
It's, you work through it. I always tell people like this: be mindful. Like, if somebody can hit you, then they don't love you. If
no.
somebody can do hateful words, like real hateful words that cut deep, that they know is your weakness, they don't love
No.
you.
No.
So that, and they're not gonna get better. Words, maybe, but it all depends. I'm not a psychiatrist on that aspect. But if they touch you, it ain't gonna get better. It's only gonna
No.
get worse.
Speaking of words, do you think the word narcissist is being overused these days?
Yes, I do. I think that it really is being thrown around, and people are using the word narcissist to really diagnose a lot of situations. You really have to know what that word means and the terminology behind it, and also have, I would say, more education and experience around it, because I do see it being thrown around a lot. And with a narcissist, that is narcissistic personality disorder. That's somebody who has, been determined that they have narcissistic personality disorder, which is something that is not curable. So I do think that it is really thrown around a lot on social media for sure, and it's been misused. Yes.
Yeah, my daughter had brought that up. She was trying to describe a character, whatever she was watching. And she was like, I don't want to use the word narcissist because it's been tossed around so much. So she was trying to think of other, like she was watching his behaviors and trying to think of another word to use because
She
she
was
didn't want
talking
to
Mhm.
about
put a
him.
label on somebody.
She was talking about
Yeah.
him.
So I thought it was pretty like interesting because you do starting to see it in a lot of
Mhm.
conversations and whatnot. Do you think America is like a narcissistic like society, like culture, like our culture in general?
So the culture in general, I would say, um, it really is related to this question of, do you think there is more narcissists in the world than there used to be? So I think with, social media, of course, I don't necessarily think that there's more narcissists today than there was years ago. So it's just more self-aware now. We are self-aware now with more social media, more education, and bringing more awareness to it. So I would say it's related to that. There's narcissists all over the world. Um, but I would say the social media aspect is really what is bringing more attention and self awareness to it. So yeah, I would say it doesn't matter what country, what state, it's in America, it's in all countries. But I would say that there are some cultures in some countries who are not as well self-aware with it. So back to America, I would say that they're definitely a place that is more self-aware about it, because in some cultures, they're just not well educated or more self-aware about it as, America or Canada, which really is unfortunate because in Pacific cultures, you're taught that, oh, you got to stay in this relationship. We don't believe in divorce. So you got to stay. So they're not as well educated or self-aware on it. So I would say America, in terms of this, they're just more educated, more self-aware, and same with Canada.
Yeah. I guess I was thinking about like when it comes to like masculinity, I think
Mm,
is really like heavy in American
mhm.
culture when you pushing like masculinity than
Yeah.
than you would see in other countries and whatnot. So that's why it made me wonder, like, all right, well, is it like ingrained in us as a society?
Yeah. So when we talk about ingrained as society, this is really related to culture, because how narcissism is really formed, it's formed from early childhood. So culture does have a heavy influence on this, because you have certain cultures where they see if you have this level and status of power, that means you're really successful. And that can be a tricky one because narcissism is formed at such a young age. So if you're taught by your parents that, well, in order to be successful, you have to have this status of power, which is one of the characteristics with narcissism, thinking that like if I have some type of status, like a high status, that means I'm powerful, and that means I'm successful. So that's where, growing up as a child is really connected with the culture. So some cultures, it's very, I would say, male dominated, as in like growing up at a really young age, it's taught that you need to be a leader to be successful. And that's where there is characteristics within narcissism that like they want to be a leader, they want to have that sense of control over people. So that's definitely related to that, the culture and the growing up part. So that's the connection there. Yeah.
I can dig that. I know yesterday we talked about, I know Chris hit on a lot when it pertains to red flags. He kept bringing up different
Yeah.
red flags in different scenarios. Well, I know that situation hit home with you. You want to kind of tie in some questions from the crib back into what we got going right now as far as those red flags and like what to be mindful of.
Mm,
Yeah, just so like when people are when they're facing it, some people don't feel like they have an outlet, or they feel like that, they feel trapped, or they feel like this is the nobody's going to help them. It's only going to get worse if I say something.
mhm.
So how do you give the voice to the voiceless is something I want to say. What are like some options? What are some avenues people have to get help?
Yeah, so to get help, I think there's a lot more on social media today. So I find when I was in the situation of thinking like, oh my gosh, like how am I going to explain this to my family, my friends? I don't think they'll quite understand me. That's when I really started to look more into this and seeing the resources. So there's this spark that goes off in your head when you start to think about like, okay, how am I going to leave this situation? So in terms of resources, of course, if you do have an emergency, there are DV locations and shelters as well. And so that's definitely like the first step. So seeking any type of support, whether that's, a DV association or a friend, speaking to friends and family members. And I think, when they think, oh my gosh, it's going to get worse, that's actually where we need to go. We have to open up to it, but there's a way that you can do it in secrecy, because of course with being in a controlling relationship, when they see that, that you're reaching out and they see that you're talking to friends about this, there is consequences to this. So there is ways of how to do it in secrecy. So, if you talk with a friend, a family member, there are ways around it of like deleting your call history, deleting text messages, but then letting them know that, hey, I'm going to be the one who reaches out to you. Please don't text me. And then you can create a system, which is called an exit plan. So then, you start making photocopies of all your important documents, and you could have that placed at a friend's house, a family member's house, somebody that you really do trust. Have extra copies, extra set of keys, have all of those extra set of copies somewhere that you trust, and create an exit plan to really get the ball rolling and in place, because it's so important to pre-plan this, because in the moment, of course, we know when you get in an argument with a very abusive person, you're thinking right on the spot, and a lot of things can happen. So there is pre-planning that needs to be done here.
Yeah, I agree. How do you like in a lot of black households, we condition, we ride or die, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna stick with our to the end, and how do
Yeah.
you unlearn like some of those behaviors? I know you talked about us like
Mhm.
as a culture, as a society, we're taught to like, all right, you stick with one person until, it's over
Yeah.
with. So how do you unlearn something like that?
Yeah, so a lot of the unlearning process, it really comes down to redefining what we see as love. We have to now, in order to detach from the relationship, we have to break it down and really, create that list of everything that's been done in the relationship, all the bad times. And a lot of the time, like, the bad times are definitely going to outweigh the good times with this person. And in any type of like healthy relationship, you should have more good times than the bad times. So we really have to look at what has happened in the relationship and redefine what we see love to be. So instead of, a lot of chaos that's going on, because with social media, we view that chaotic relationships are the ones that, that's where I have a lot of, passion. If we have a very chaotic relationship, it's very passionate relationship. And then the stability, I find, sometimes can be looked at as boring, right? So we really have to redefine what healthy and unhealthy relationships look like to really see the difference between what healthy and unhealthy love looks like. So it's really about relearning what love should be and how it should actually feel versus what we thought it to be.
We had a call that come in over.
Yeah, they just wanted to show their support. They just wanted. It was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead, let me show some.
No,
show some love.
they good. They hung up.
Okay.
They didn't know what the topic was.
Respect,
I think it was
respect.
Kayla. They seen Kayla, so they wanted to call her. But nah, that's so truthful, man. It's like I just want people to know that there are advocates in your corner. There are people there to help you.
Mhm.
There is help for you. There is people that are strong for you when you can't be strong.
Yeah.
And it happens to the best of us. You can't just say this has never happened to me, because it happened to a lot of strong people.
Mhm.
So don't be afraid to raise your hand and get help and seek help. And there's a network of basically that you can seek help in private with not many people knowing, like you just explained,
Mhm.
and a way for you to get out. And there's even a way for you and your children to get out. There is a whole support system. I think it's domestic violence on a national level is a serious issue. And there's a lot of help. I mean, I think some states are starting to get along. Some states are ahead of others. Whereas if you do have an instance of domestic violence, they take the weapons from the house. If there's weapons in the house, they put a restraining order from people buying weapons until the case is heard and adjudicated. And there's also like continual resources if you've been a victim and there's continued support for you, because it could be life changing. Some people leave, like you say, in the middle of the night with nothing in hand, and they show up with nothing, and that now this network is built to where you have a safe house, where your location is away, nobody knows where you are. It's police protection. They help you. They give you money to get food, get you the necessity to things, help you if you have to find a job, get work. So don't be afraid to make that change, because we don't want to see your life get taken for you stand
Yeah, definitely.
and living in fear.
Yeah.
Or you go ahead.
No, I want to, I guess, get to asking, like, have you ever like experienced or been in a situation where like you in an environment and bam, somebody done got popped off on, man, and you a bystander, you don't witness damn domestic violence, what
Yeah.
you do in that scenario, you know what I'm saying? Damn, I was just, we was just trying to go to damn Dave and Buster's, and now I'm trying to get back home.
Yeah, I know. So when you're a bystander, for sure, one of the first things is you actually don't want to you want to de-escalate the situation for sure, because when you try to get right in the middle between an abuser and their victim, they will react. So the best way is to de-escalate the situation. Ask the abuser. You can ask the abuser, like, okay, what's going on? And in this case scenario, you really try to de-escalate them by comforting them and try to almost be like that person that they can talk to. And it sounds odd in the moment, but that showing that you're there for them and just agreeing with them, be like, yeah, you're right. Well, what can I do for you to de-escalate the situation is going to be the best case. So that's definitely the first step. And then after that, if you get a moment with the victim to check up on them as well, to see if they are doing okay, and telling them, like, I am here for you. Don't think that you are alone. I am here for you. Even if you need to come to my house, right? Like, just to get away from the situation, and we can map up a plan for you to leave. Don't think you're alone. Like, I'm here for you. I see what you're going through. So first step would be to de-escalate the situation. And then the next step is to really show that you're giving your support to the victim, so to know that they can reach out to you. And then also the third step is, if the victim doesn't really says like, no, I'm okay, or whatever, like doesn't really want your help, to really talk with their friends, their family, to keep a close eye onto them as well, to really manage and really monitor the situation that's going on. But yeah, that would be the next 3 steps in that situation.
What's some some early red flags that you can notice, like from the outside? You're like, man, some off. Because I think my boy Noah be getting beat, and I want to ask you too. Like, have you ever experienced it on the male side where you trying to coach a man how to get out of that abusive relationship?
My side, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So with like my program, I do have like a lot of females. So I will say that, but I have talked with males who have experienced that with their girlfriends. So it does happen on both sides for sure. So I have talked to also males as well who have experienced that and who have really decided to leave the situation and are also navigating their healing journey. I feel sometimes on social media, it's very much portrayed that it's a lot of, males that are narcissists. I do see a lot of that, but it does happen on both genders. So I have experience speaking with both sides. And so, talking about how their girlfriends, have demonstrated acts of violence towards them and how they mistreated to them. So it's really interesting to see, not only from a female's perspective, but I have spoken with males as well on this.
I don't know. It had to be like a tough conversation because that male ego, boy, that male ego get in the way. Especially like you at the crib.
Yeah, definitely. I think the ego part and not really wanting to, that comes in conflict, not really wanting to admit that, like, hey, I'm getting, beat up, or I'm getting threats from my girlfriend. So ego definitely does come into it a bit, but I have seen sides where they've just reached that point where the ego's out the window, and it's just a matter of like, okay, I'm done with this, the disrespect. So I don't really care about my ego anymore. It's just a matter of, okay, like, I'm ready, like, I need some help, and I know this situation is not good for me anymore. So I do think the ego comes into it for a little bit, but then after a while of being so defeated, that just really goes out the door, honestly. And they're just reaching the point where they're like, I need help now.
Man, we need a movie like that. Like we got Tina Turner movie. We need a man to come out with it. Damn, you know what I'm saying? We need the man version of what love got to
Yeah.
do with it.
Yeah, for sure.
Did you say what the early red flags for people to kind of like be mindful of and watch out for?
Yeah, so early red flags for sure is, one of them is going to be if you notice that, they want you to spend all of their time with them. So that's a red flag if they want you to, not hang out with your friends, not hang out with your family. And they'll put it in a subtle way of like, I just really like you and I want to get to know you more. And I've just never met somebody like this. So they're like, I think we should spend as much time as possible. But that's a red flag
That's Trey.
um, because that's isolating you from your friends, your family, your coworker, your acquaintances, everybody. And that's slowly conditioning you to cut off contact with, with other people in your life. And they want to do that because it's a sense of control. And once you notice, like, oh my gosh, something's off here, you don't have anybody you feel so isolated. I would say you feel that you don't have anybody to talk to because, like, of course, I feel in a lot of cases, if you reached out to your family and friends, they're like, oh my gosh, like once they realize what you're going through, they're like, oh my gosh, I'm 100% here for you. But because you have cut off contact or haven't talked to them in a while, victims can often feel that they don't have that source to reach out to their friends and family, but they definitely still do. So I would say that's definitely one of the first red flags. In my experience, another red flag was I felt as if they were my soulmate right away. That's
You got love bombed.
yeah.
That's
And
what
one
happened to
of
Tina.
yeah, and one of the things they do with that is they pretend to be your soulmate by mirroring you. So they're actually analyzing everything you're telling them. And they're actually doing this on purpose. They're analyzing everything you're telling them. So all your life goals, everything that you tell them that is really your passion that you want to do in life, they're keeping that in the back of their mind and they're going to mimic that back to you and say, oh my gosh, like I have those same goals. I've always wanted to do that. And
Oh yeah,
chances
that's a
are
stone cold killer right there.
that's not they didn't have the same life goals, but they're
I'm just
keeping
trying
that
to get
in
them draws,
mind.
boy, at all costs.
Yeah.
Like,
So
y'all.
you're like, why would I wait? They're my soulmate. Like, this is the person I've been waiting
You're
for.
the perfect person.
Yeah.
Oh my
So
God.
they
You been stalking your IG. He got your whole lineup. Boy, you know the play by play.
Sound like the work husband.
yeah.
Oh man, how do you handle that domestic work husband situation? Have you ever had to get through one of them?
So domestic work husband. So in terms of that, do you mean as if in the workplace, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
good
so
old.
Yeah.
you have a relationship at home, and
Yes.
then you have the male counterpart at work that
Right.
y'all get close, and have you ever had like a domestic situation between that, like where they become jealous at work of your relationship with your significant other or your relationship with other coworkers?
So I haven't personally experienced that myself, but I do.
You seen
I have seen and I do know of people who have experienced that for sure. And they actually like one of the first things I hear from this is, oh my gosh, like I don't think I can do anything about that. Like I don't want to tell on them because I feel like that's going to make it worse, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you never tell anybody or reach out to the resources that are available, so like the workplace harassment or telling upper management, like it's never going to get better and it will continue, right? Because if you don't speak out, that in their eyes is seeing that you are going to continue to tolerate it, and it just gets worse and worse over time. And then it's almost as if you continue to accept it because you're becoming so conditioned to the behavior that you just end up feeling defeated and accept it. So the best thing you can do is actually reach out to all the resources that you have. So the upper management, the workplace, sexual harassment, all of the resources that are there in the workplace, because if you don't, they're going to believe and you are also actually going to continue to accept it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Man, that's crazy,
I like
man.
how you said the behaviors. I was listening to one of these podcasts, and they mentioned that a lot of times we navigate life and we're handling the people we love, and it's also we gotta like handle their behaviors. And we may love the person, but we don't love their behaviors. And how do we navigate that?
Yeah.
And that's where it gets tricky.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking because another actually early red flag was in one of my narcissistic relationships is he would take my phone and hide it as a joke. And you think that's funny at first, but when you actually unravel it and think about it, they want to hide your phone from you on purpose because that's your lifeline. That's your way to reach your family, your friends, other people, emergency contacts, you know? And at first you think, ha ha ha, like when he was hiding my phone, but actually they will amp it up. And then it turns out to be this actually happened in my relationship where he said, "Oh, let's have a social media break. Like, let's put our cell phones in a box, take a social media break. Let's get a house phone."
Yeah, well, you had you a stone cold killer on your.
Hey,
Yeah, that is not good because they want to monitor all the calls that are coming in to the house phone, right? And they don't. And at first, I honestly I was like, why the hell would I get a house phone when I already
Who
pay
wants
for
a
a cell phone?
landline? Yeah, who the hell wants a, you trying to go back in time? That's how you know, boy. You got to the
Yeah,
you got to the throwback white beater right there,
yeah.
boy.
But they put it in subtle ways like this, making it seem as though like, oh, it's the best for you, right? And that they're looking out for you, but it's subtle ways like this.
that
That's
is
the same thing.
Yeah.
that's
Actually,
insane. That's insane. Want a
Yes.
house phone? Yeah, you
Yeah.
man. Let's take a social media break. Let's put
I
our
got this.
phone.
I
Let's
got this
lock our
beeper for you,
phones up.
baby.
Yeah. Oh my god. At first I was like, well, I didn't go with that. I was just like, why would I do that? I already pay for a cell phone. And I was like, it's not worth it to get a house phone. So I was like, no, I'm not doing that.
Man had it all figured out for you. He was like, I'll take
Yeah.
care of it. But it's things that
Yeah.
like you think some people be blinded by love and the whole time this person actually hates you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Well,
that
with narcissistic people, the things that they really praise you for in the beginning, like you're smart, you're beautiful, you know, you're very successful, I love your laugh, are actually the things they end up hating you for after. They become envious after. So at first, they're like, oh my gosh, you're this amazing person. I love all these qualities about you. But those same qualities are things that they are going to hate you for afterwards. Because the thing with narcissistic people, they have very low self esteem and they don't love themselves. They actually hate themselves. So the fact that they see that you're this amazing person with all these qualities and so much to offer, they actually end up envying you that and being jealous of you for all these things that you possess.
How the hell you get out of that relationship? You had a sandwich bag with your phone in it, and you had your doggone go kit ready, boy. You like y'all. You stop.
Yeah, well, honestly, it took a couple times. So, like what I was saying with earlier, I've been in two narcissistic relationships. So, the first one was for 5 years on and off. Oh my gosh. So, they say a total of it's an average of 7 times, right? So, that's the average. But for my first one, I would
Jesus.
say it was like a couple hundred times. And then for my second relationship, it took me about 5 times to leave.
You try. You
Yeah.
oh you really
You
trying to get out
left,
of
it
there.
came back.
Yeah, because you get in love. Honestly, you
What
get
brought you back? What
blindsided.
brought you back? Oh, it had to be something like, golly, boy, it's been dry around
Okay.
here. I need to
Your
go
favorite
Yeah.
food? It was like your favorite food?
Well, oh yeah, that's a
Them
good
boys
start.
like, damn, I
But
missed my throat goat. Let me go back.
well, this actually it will sound a little cheesy, but the last time in my final straw for my second narcissistic relationship, we were in this hotel because with work he stayed at different hotels because, you know, it was a sales job. So they would pay for him to stay at different hotels in the provinces. And we were at this hotel once and he was like in and out going to work. And I remember like we had such a bad fight and I was crying my eyes out. Like I cried so much that my eyes actually swelled and I looked like a bug. And the next day, he wanted me to pretend as if it didn't happen. He left for work. I sat in the chair of the hotel room looking out the window and I actually prayed, like prayed to God about this. And I would say like when it comes to religion, I'm not exactly like, you know, going to church every Sunday and stuff, but I do still believe in it. So I actually prayed to God and I said like please like allow me to find love that is actually deserving of me. I know I deserve better than this. Like please help me. And I actually prayed and did a prayer like looking out the window and that was really the turning point for me because in these relationships, sometimes you just reach this breaking point where you're just like, I know I'm done. I know that the aftermath of healing from this is not going to be easy. I realize that. I accept that. But I know that I need to be done and I'm willing to go through that. So I did pray about that, and like that week I stopped like contact within a couple days, and I didn't go back.
And that no, that's a real, man, and thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
That's a real experience. That's how you
Yeah.
know, like, when if you ever been through an experience and you like, God, man, you get me through this, man. Like,
Yeah.
I'm locked in. Like, I don't know, it's like, you hear stories and people go through those experiences. Like, man, it was no way I could have got through that by myself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
for you can tell like it was like a horrific experience for you, just replaying it back in your head, and you just like describing different moments, and you can remember like intimate moments of the situation.
Mm.
So that's how
Yeah.
like it was pretty intense, and I'm glad you got through that and made it to the other
Yeah.
side because
Yeah.
a
I
lot of
would
people don't, and that's a tough.
No. Yeah, you definitely need a lot of support, and when you're just coming out of the relationship, I would definitely say that's the first thing you need to do right away is leaning into somebody who understands, whether that's family, friends, a therapist, a coach, leaning into somebody who understands, because you do actually require a lot of hand holding when you first come out of this for at least the first couple of months for somebody to, because of course, like you get those urges like, oh, I just want to text him this one thing because I need my closure, or I need to tell him this. So for the first couple of months coming out of this, you actually just honestly just need somebody who understands that you can lean in, somebody who you can call for a quick 15 minutes to really talk you out of not texting him, somebody who you can cry on the phone with. Honestly, it's as simple as that for the first couple of months, is just leaning into somebody. And then slowly we work our way through what you need to do, the action steps on an everyday basis to heal from this.
Yeah, it's a lot of
Yeah.
challenges. What makes your therapy different than others of what you do?
Yeah, so I would say my therapy, what makes me really different from others is I come from a standpoint from besides, there's traditional therapy, but then there's coaching. So mine's the coaching aspect. And with traditional therapy, it's very much like talk therapy, just like talking about the past, right? And with therapy, they can't exactly tell you like, hey, you need to do this. They'll come from a standpoint of like suggesting something, so they'll talk you through it. They might make some suggestions, and then you'll have your biweekly therapy sessions. But the difference with my coaching and coaching in general is it's very solution based. I don't give suggestions. I tell my clients this is what you need to do if you want to get better, and I hold them accountable. And we don't have bi-weekly, we have weekly meetings. They're also able to text me in between anytime that they need extra support. And so I give them solutions, I hold them accountable, and I'm pretty blunt as well. I will say I'm pretty blunt. So I give them solution based. I don't suggest it. I tell them like, hey, this is, what you need to do. So very solution based. We do weekly meetings, and then also they are allowed to text me and give me a quick call whenever they need, versus therapy, like you can't text your therapist whenever. It's like you have to wait till the next meeting, your every 2 weeks meeting. So it's very much, I would say it's more support. And also in the coaching stand field, with coaching, whatever field, whatever type of niche you do, coaching comes from the standpoint of life experience, not just
Mm-hmm.
education, life experience of saying, hey, I've been through exactly what you're going through right now. I've made it out on the other end. This is what's really worked for me and other people that I have coached. So let me really give you this solid roadmap, because I know that's going to work for you, because it's been proven for me and other people as well. So it's not just education, it's life experience to say, hey, I've been in your shoes before. Let me hold your hand. Let me help you. I really understand you. I'm not going to judge you because I know exactly what you've been through. And I think a lot of clients of mine have had that fear, right? When you go to therapy, you're like, oh, I don't want to tell them everything because I feel like this shame and guilt that they're going to really judge me for how long I stayed and what I really put up with. And I have seen that happen where therapists really judge that. But with me, I'm just like, no, I've been through exactly what you've been through, and I'm not going to judge you at all. Like, I've put up with a lot of stuff before. So it allows them to really tell you everything without the shame, holding the shame and guilt, because they know that you really relate to them.
Yeah, that's well. You spoke to some of the challenges you face yourself as a survivor, and
Hmm.
some other stories as far as people
Yeah.
surviving as when it comes to like emotional attachments or like fear of leaving, and you got to
Hmm.
pack a bag. Can you speak to like I guess because a lot of times we come from conditions where like economics, like we come from like bad, poor environments, or we might not have a family structure or a group that we
Yeah.
can kind of lean on. Can you speak from that aspect of it? As far as somebody that's like who just come from like they don't have, they wasn't raised a certain type of way and they don't have a lot and they their mindset ain't like coachable. Like I don't know,
Yeah.
you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? You get us we come from different environments and sometimes
Yeah.
you
For,
gotta mold that
yeah,
clay.
for sure. So with this standpoint, I understand that, sometimes people don't really have that same type of support. So this really comes from a standpoint where it comes more deep rooted here, where this individual really has this question. And I have seen this before where it really comes from them. So maybe they don't have the same type of family support or friend support. So the question that really comes down to this is their reasoning for why they want to leave, wanting, a better future, and really being that person who breaks the generational cycle.
Yeah.
So that spark comes from that person, because you have to want it. Honestly, you have to want this change. So for the person who doesn't have, that type of
But what
same
about
support.
from like the economic standpoint? Like if you're like
Yeah.
dependent on somebody because of, finances or
Yes, definitely.
you're in a pimp situation.
Yeah, if you are definitely dependent on somebody else, for sure. So that one, honestly, it is a little bit tricky for sure. So the first standpoint on this definitely would be with seeking out, say, like DV association, DV shelters, because they do help a lot with that standpoint of being able to get you back on your feet. So with the financials tied in together as well, you have to honestly, there's also legal aid that is available for that with the separation of your assets as well, because when you get in these relationships, you share the same checking account and all this. And sometimes I've seen instances where
That's a red flag.
the person don't do it,
Yeah, yeah.
where the person like will be like, oh my gosh, she left me, like let me drain the account right before she can get anything. But yeah, so the first step with that, like, definitely would be getting back on your feet through, that emergency place of, the DV shelter, the DV association, because they do have homes for women and children, and also men and children who are just going through that separation to get you back on your feet. And there is also legal aid that helps with this. So even if you can't afford a lawyer, you can also get that type of help to really be able to, do the whole separation process. So whether that's like divorce, separating your assets, right? Child visitations as well.
I want to know, man, what's couple goals for you? You know what I'm saying? You know how we have this thing called couple goals. Like you see these people and you're like, man, those are goals right there. What's couple goals?
Yeah, so couple goals, I would say for me, because in the general, not just me, I would say a guy who I would say a guy, and I say guy because like I am in a healthy relationship now for almost 4 years.
No, I'm talking about like celebrity couple goals. Like, you got Brad,
Oh,
Angelina, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that. Like
yeah,
Megan Good just got she got her, they just, you know what I'm saying? They got a little situation going over there. He escaped.
yeah. Okay. So in terms of couple goals, like, so you're talking about celebrity status?
Hmm.
So I find with celebrities, right, it can be hard to see what's right, to see what's true and what's actually fake, right? Because on the
Yeah.
social media, like there's so many stories of seeing, like this couple is thriving. But with social media, of course, there can also be rumors. So I find that you really do have to know them personally to really have an insight on what their relationship looks like, because I would say only the people who know them personally can really distinguish what their relationship is like, because on the outside they can look like they have this really great relationship, but then you have seen stories and have seen it in the news where that there's a DV situation with the couples.
Respect.
Yeah.
Got none. Me neither. I ain't got none either. So it was just a test, see where you going with it.
Yeah, but I would say, with relationship goals, I would definitely say somebody who is able to have a calm and collected conversation with you, right? And somebody who really, takes action after things. If you were to express, like, hey, can we work on this? Or I didn't like it when you did this as well. That's going to be somebody who takes action versus just saying, like, oh, yeah, I will, but then never does, right? So that's the big difference here.
No, you just you giving me the scouring eye.
What
I don't
happened?
know.
No,
You just
I'm just tuned in. I'm just listening, man. She's
okay.
dropping knowledge. She's
Yeah,
dropping knowledge,
she's dropping a lot of heat.
I know, right? Got to get out.
What would you say would be like the number one manipulation? Because I know Chris yesterday he talked about. He said, man, he said abusers are master manipulators is what he's saying. What will be, I guess, like
Yeah.
how to read through the, you know what I'm saying, the manipulation, or how, I guess if you are a woman who are in that situation and you don't know you in that situation,
Yeah.
what would be, I guess, light bulb moment?
Yeah. So I would definitely say that with this, because this is really correlated to breaking the cycle here. So I would say that, when we're in such a vulnerable state after coming out of a narcissistic relationship, you first have to spend a lot of time on yourself versus rushing into the dating scene, because the point here is going to be really important. This is actually going to prevent the cycle from happening. So you want to spend a lot of time in your own healing journey, making yourself feel whole again, bringing up your confident levels, like feeling confident again, your self-esteem issues, and really seeing, the unhealthy patterns within yourself. So you want to focus on yourself as much as possible to make yourself feel whole again, because if you don't spend time and if you don't heal those wounds that you know that you need to heal, you are going to be in a vulnerable state of feeling that you need to be in another relationship to make yourself happy. So you're going to feel codependent on somebody else. And that actually makes you very vulnerable to get in the cycle again. Because when you're in this cycle state, in this vulnerable state, of like, oh my gosh, I need somebody to make me happy. I'm not like confident like I used to be. I'm just not feeling my best. Narcissistic people, they see that and they prey on that. They're like, here's this person who's very vulnerable. Like, I'm going to come in and be like her knight in shining armor, right? And I'm going to pretend that, oh my gosh, I'm going to take care of all of these things. And don't worry, I got you. I'm going to take care of everything. So, and there's also this saying where broken people attract other broken people, right? And that's so true. Like, even though you're not a narcissistic person, you're not an abuser, because you're in this such vulnerable state of your healing journey, like you just came out of this relationship and you're still working through a lot of things, that vulnerability, that's you being broken. And that's where it's going to attract a narcissist, because narcissistic people are very broken people. So broken people attract other broken people, whereas whole people, same thing, attract other whole people. So to really prevent this, you do need to focus on yourself a lot, heal the unhealthy patterns, really do a lot of the inner work to see what wounds you need to focus on and rebuild and heal yourself before you go into the dating scene. So when you feel whole again, that's really what's going to make you a magnetic match for somebody else who is a secure person and is also healthy and whole themselves. And then also, I always say this to my clients as well, there is this 3-month rule. So when you start dating somebody, like dating somebody, there's this like 3-month rule. So when you get to know somebody, typically after 3 months, that's when their true colors start coming
come
through.
out the 90 days.
Steve Harvey said that, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said you put them on a 30-day. What he said? What Steve Harvey said? Something like that. And you got like, well, he said you don't give them, you don't even give them none for 3 months. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You really put them through the fire. You can't even get a piece of this.
I ain't gonna be
You
there for
say
no 3
broken
months,
people
but
find broken people, then they mess around and have broken kids. Get pregnant, and I got a bunch of broken kids, and
Yeah, it
then
continues. Yeah. The generation continues.
the cycle.
Yeah, so you can really be the one to determine that the cycle's ending here.
but I guess what's next for Kayla?
So going to continue to coach for sure and reach more people. I plan to continue to grow my platform, reach more people for sure, and continue to really bring out that self-awareness and continue to coach.
So is
Where
your
can people find
coaching, is
you?
it virtual or is it in person, or
Yeah,
how does one get involved?
it's virtual. So my coaching is virtual. So the first step would be reaching me through Instagram and the DMs. So yeah, that's where it really all starts.
Oh
It go
yeah, that's
down in
what
the DM.
and go down in the DM. Hey,
Yeah, and then
So
I do have a platform that I use as a community because I do group coaching. So I do have like all my clients in the platform. So I do have a community.
oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
So what is it like? I guess like because I think I saw on your thing you offer like a free trial period. So what does that free trial
Yeah.
period look like?
So what I offer is like we do a free discovery call. So that one is, we talk about, where they're currently at and where they want to be and really plan out a roadmap that is going to help them. So I do the free calls to really see, what the best course of action would be for somebody if they want to do coaching. So I do that as well. And then I also do have some free materials as well. So for somebody who maybe can't exactly do coaching right now just because of financial situations, I do offer free resources. But if you do want to do coaching, I do offer a free call to really see what that would look like for them.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You accepted the call. Now it's time to go. What I'm saying, get it in. What does a week look like of coaching?
Yeah, so a week like for coaching, that really looks like so we do weekly group calls. So we do that every Tuesday at 8:30 Atlantic Standard Time. And so that goes on for an hour. So we do the weekly calls and then we also have the chat support between each client. So they get to ask me questions or whether they need support or motivation, they can really lean into the chat as well. And as they're going through their coaching program, because it is a 90-day program that I offer, between the chat support, the weekly calls, they also go through a course that I have built that is on my 6-step framework of how to heal after toxic relationships. So that's a self-paced course, but I always recommend to try to get it done within the 90 days. And then every week, I do also do check-ins with my clients to see where they're at, if they need help with anything as well. So it is a very much hands-on course. I check in with them weekly through the calls. I answer all their questions on the calls. We do weekly check-ins via text. I answer any questions they have through text as well. And then they also do go through the course. And yeah, that's a 90-day program. And they can also share any wins that they have in the community that I use, which is school community. So that's what we have here. And I'm thinking for the future that we might also look into doing in-person retreats to meet everybody. So I have thought about that as well.
What?
Yeah. So, but that's what it looks like so
That way the
far.
work husbands. So, boy, you go out there.
Yeah. I know a lot of people do like the whole in-person retreats, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I have seen those as well. And it's nice because, you meet people virtually and it's nice to see them finally in person. Like, oh my gosh, this is the person I've been talking to, right? And really experience their energy in
They can't
person.
take the work husband on a retreat though, right? You got to make
No,
sure. Okay,
no,
good.
no. Yeah, yeah, just you. This is just for you. Yeah.
Was any favorite like success stories of your program that you want to kind of like?
Yes. So I definitely do have success stories. So with one of my clients, she came to me with very low self-esteem. She was very much people-pleasing as well, not being able to ask for what she needs and wants in her relationships with her, friends, work, family, all the way around. So I worked with her for 90 days, and her 90 days is actually ending now, but she might re-sign again. But I remember when she came to me, her self-esteem was actually really low. But then and that's what she wanted to work on, was her confidence. But then after the 90 days, I noticed now it's just like she asks for exactly what she needs and exactly what she wants. She's more assertive. She doesn't people please anymore. And she's just a lot more confident in how she carries herself as well. Like, you'll notice this glow where, somebody who has low self-esteem, they might shoulders down, but now she's like smiling, shoulders up. She very much, is very more assertive, does not people please. So her confidence level is through the roof. So seeing her growth was really amazing. And yeah, I do love it because she's just so much more confident now. And I can see that. And she's not people pleasing like she used to do. And then one of my other clients, she actually came to me last month, freshly out of the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of contemplating like, oh, I should do what he wants. And I ended up working with her through her challenges. And now she's like, no, I don't care. I'm doing what I want. I don't care what he wants. And she doesn't even talk to him anymore. So that's definitely another client success. And then I have another one where she's like in a healthy relationship now. Her situation is a little bit different. So she's been through it years ago, but she's now in a healthy relationship. So her situation was a little bit different, but she was still feeling the effects from the past. So I worked with her through that as well. And I'm seeing lots of growth already for her. But yeah, I do have a couple more other success stories, but yeah, it's really good seeing, everyone's growth, right? And just seeing how, I found they just wanted to people please so much, and the confidence was just so low. And now they're just so much brighter, so much more confident. They're able to ask for what they want out of this life. So it's just amazing to see their growth.
Thank you so much for that, man. And thank you for coming to the show and sharing all that information and that insightfulness that you provided for today. You gave a wealth of knowledge, and appreciate you so much for that. Trey, you got anything?
Yeah, I think a call to action. Kayla, if you have any resources or, let the people know how they can find you, where to pop up in the DMs at.
Yeah, so I have Instagram. So that's the one platform I use because I really wanted to go all in on that. So you can reach me on Instagram. So it's Kayla Doherty for my Instagram. So you can reach me there and send me a message in the DMs. And that's how we really start, whether that's getting some free
They go
resources or
down
if
in
you
the
want to start.
Well, with this bunch here, boy, you might get a bunch of eggplants in the DM, boy.
I know.
Nowadays, boy, you gotta be careful with this crowd.
This is only for domestic violence, guys. Calm
Yeah.
down.
Yeah, no, honestly,
You
I've
might
gotten
get
some weird ones.
Yeah.
I am so much of an unbothered person that I'm like, I don't even open it. I'm like,
Like,
Yeah,
oh
but
yeah,
man, I'm gonna go ahead. I might have to put that in, save that one for later on, bookmark that one.
yeah, I don't have time for that. So I'm just like, I'm about serious business.
yeah.
I'm
But
playing.
thank you for coming by and shedding some light
Yeah,
on a touching
thank you for
topic.
having me. This is
Thank you so
great.
much. Appreciate
Much
you.
love.
Yeah,
All right, Kayla, I'll reach
yeah,
out.
yeah.
All
We'll
right.
stay connected. Thank
All right.
you.
No doubt.
Thank you.
Love. Got to stay on for a little bit.